What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Jump. And a midweek episode every Wednesday, trying to get some content out for you guys. Um, Another kind of midweek thing to look forward to week 4, and then kind of reflect a little bit on week 3, but I have some more segments involved. So, a lot to get to, and some of this I'll do on the fly. So, we'll end up seeing my immediate thoughts on certain things. But yeah, a lot of fun. So there's some stuff that I got from my TikTok that if you don't follow, go check that out. I post a lot over there. And then I just kind of have some news and notes around the nation. So I'm excited to get into it. So we'll start with the AP poll. The AP poll came out for week 4. The top hasn't moved a ton. The big notes, just the top 3 stay the same. The big notes, I think, to me, Notre Dame is still ranked, which I'm thankful for because this is a team that has played 2 legitimately great teams. And they have 2 losses to top 10 teams that are very worthy of their top 10 ranking. So I do think that is a perfect spot for them. Georgia Tech goes from unranked to 18, which is elite. This one just jumped off right away to me. 17 and 16, Texas Tech and Utah. They'll end up matching up this week out on the West Coast. So that one's just fun right there. USC makes an appearance at 25. Vanderbilt goes from unranked to 20. And other than that, the rest of it just kind of stay the same. Some teams slide up because of some falling back, but for the most part, I think it's a really good AP poll. I think this is probably correct. I was kind of shocked that they dropped USF all the way out after, 2 good wins. The Florida win obviously doesn't look amazing at this point, but the Boise State win is still very good, beating a team pretty bad like that. But I think overall it's pretty good AP poll. If you're listening on podcast, I'll read out the top 10 right now, just in case you're listening while you're driving and you don't, please keep your phone down, so don't look up the AP poll. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, LSU. Number 4, Miami. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Florida State. Number 8, Texas. Number 9, Illinois. And number 10, Texas A&M. Like I said, I think it's a really good AP poll. Missouri at 23, I think it's a very, very sneaky team that I think will end up being a team to watch out for throughout the year as a legit playoff contender, along with some of these other teams that I think may end up making some pushes late. Maybe it's because of the schedule or just because it's a really good team that I think people are still glancing over. But yeah, Clemson goes from 12 to dropped out. I can't remember the rest that ended up dropping out. But overall, great AP poll in my opinion. Obviously, the ones up in the top that people are starting to have big questions for. Texas at 8. They have another kind of blowover team that you don't need to worry about too much this week in Sam Houston State. But then they have the SEC schedule coming, and I think we'll learn a whole lot about the Longhorns once they get into that. So moving on to kind of news and notes around the nation. So these are just some things that have been noted from whether it was this past week or things that have happened since this past Saturday of college football. The first 2 Power 4 head coach firings have happened now. UCLA's Deshaun Foster fired after going 5-10 in 2 seasons. That's gonna be a really cool job to watch out for. I think LA it's a recruiting hotbed. Just you can land so many guys out there, and I think if you hire the right guy, you can get some buy-in and get some donors donating some good NIL money. So that's going to be one to watch out for. And then Virginia Tech's Brent Pry has been fired, going 16 and 24 in 4 seasons. Now, as a kid, I'm not old enough to fully remember the glory days of Virginia Tech, but I do remember that they were very, very respectable for a lot of my life. I mean, this is a team that was respectable enough that it was must-see TV when Ohio State scheduled a home-and-home with these guys. 16 and 24 in 4 seasons is really, really bad. And it's not even that they've had a big, talent problem. They've had the guys. I don't necessarily know what it is. It's going to take quite the name to get into there and kind of turn that program around immediately. And I think the one name to watch out for big time, obviously, a lot of people will say, it's a step down, all these different things. Shane Beamer. It just makes all the sense. Frank Beamer, his father, has the statue outside of Lane Stadium. I think they go all in on Shane Beamer and probably don't land him. It just makes the most sense to me, though. Virginia Tech is a place that loves their college football. They have the tradition. They're going to have the buy-in, NIL-wise. Right now, that's not necessarily great, but they'll have it depending on who they're able to get. I know Michael Vick is another name that they kind of lingered around. I don't think that's where you go at this time, at least. Now, if he proves himself a little bit more, that can be the guy. But he's one season in at Norfolk State, so I don't know if that's necessarily the time for it. But Virginia Tech's going to be a great job. Like I said, I don't know if South Carolina's going to let Shane Beamer walk. They may give him offers that he can't refuse, but Shane Beamer is definitely the one to watch out for, if from my perspective, because this is one of the few jobs I think he would definitely leave for, or not definitely leave for, but that he would listen to and have the conversations with, other than the top of the sport. But just the fact that the Beamer bloodline runs through that program. He started as like a special teams something or offensive analyst. I don't fully remember what he was, but it's where he started it all, and it's where his pops was for so long. So that would be the one to watch out for big time for me. But UCLA, I don't know if there's necessarily one big name to watch, but Jed Fish, it feels like, is the one that I've seen a lot, where it hasn't been necessarily smooth sailing up in Washington. I don't know if it's been necessarily the program, the city itself, but that Jed Fish is maybe not the biggest fan of Seattle and could entertain a move down south to Southern California and go to UCLA. So that's one of the names early. I mean, it's been 2 days since these happened. So now we've got a lot of time to kind of get out there. But they are the first to the line of coaches, though. So these are two teams to really go after whoever they want at this point, whether it's an active head coach or somebody that's out, like Chris Peterson, the old Washington guy. So these will be two interesting ones, big time for sure, because it's two respectable programs that have had, in my life at least, had some good times, and then they're at the absolute depths of the bottom of the worst dream scenario for both of these programs, both just looking horrible to this point, just 0-3 with losses to just group of 5 teams like Old Dominion, New Mexico, and they're not even really necessarily close in those games. So very understandable for the firings, but those are the two first Power 4 firings. I want to say Wofford maybe fired their coach last week too, but it's obviously early, but very, very understandable firings for these guys. Now, the question is, who will be next in college football? And I think there's just one, because I've tried to just get a pulse around the nation of where teams kind of have a vibe. And there's a couple that I don't think will have. Honestly, there's 4 that come to mind. There's 3 that I think there's so much respect for the person that they'll wait till the end of the year. I think the one that's next is Billy Napier. And I don't know if there's necessarily a specific date to watch for, but it feels inevitable that it's going to happen very soon. And the big thing that was holding him back from the entire fan base just rioting and forcing him out was DJ Lagway. And now we have DJ Lagway throwing 5 picks to LSU last Saturday. So I'm not sure if there's a big part of Florida's fan base that's necessarily begging the 2 of them to stay. So he feels like the one. The 3 that I'm referring to that I think just people have so much respect for, 2 of them more than one, but Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Sam Pittman at Arkansas, and Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Now, Luke Fickell doesn't have necessarily the ties to Wisconsin. I think he's been there 3 years, but he doesn't necessarily have the roots into the program to where it just feels like he's going to be till the end of the year type of thing. They have a very, very brutal schedule, very tough schedule, but I think he makes it the entire year. Sam Pittman, if you hear anybody, even outside of Arkansas, talk about him, they say he is the best dude ever. nicest guy, most genuine guy you've ever met. I just don't see them firing a guy like that middle of the season. And then same with Mike Gundy. I mean, he's a legend. He was Barry Sanders' quarterback. He's an Oklahoma State player legend and coach legend that's been there. I think he's maybe the second longest tenured coach in all of the sport. So I don't see him getting fired in the middle of the season either. I think it's Billy Napier. I think he's just the one. And outside of that, I don't really know. I'm trying to just get an idea of who else there could be, but those kind of feel like the four as of right now. Going back to last Saturday, there was a big importance in a SEC matchup. Diego Pavia tells Theo Vaughn that if they beat South Carolina, Theo Vaughn could take his mom on a date. But now there's another layer to it. So there was all that. Cole Kubelik was with Theo Vaughn on the sideline and talking to him about all that. But then tonight I saw Diego Pavia also tweeted out that he had told Theo Vaughn that he could take his mom out on a date if Tate McRae goes on a date with Pavia himself. So he's shooting a shot, and I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So shout out to Pavia for that, but that adds a whole other layer to it that Theo Vaughn did not mention while down there on the sideline with Cole Kubelik. But it's just a hilarious story that, like, this is so college football. This is just something you get in college football. Theo said that he always wanted to date a nurse or something, and just the whole scenario is hilarious. So I'm expecting more layers of that to come out soon. But yeah, Diego Pavia, he's just Mr. Excitement, Mr. just drama. Like he is awesome. He's amazing for the sport. And then he adds this layer to it where he gives media members stuff to talk about even outside of their massive win where they dominated South Carolina. This one I'll have to play a video for it because my words will not do it justice for how upset this man was. Brian Kelly snapped at the media this past Saturday. So I'll play the video now.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
Now, Kelly, obviously, he is pretty ticked. Doesn't even let the guy necessarily finish the question. He just says, stop. Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? Like, he absolutely snapped. Now, I get both sides. I'm not listening to every Brian Kelly postgame press conference, win or lose. I'm not listening to much of both because I'm not an LSU fan. But, so, some of this is with a grain of salt because I don't necessarily know what he is going through. But he says something to the effect of, like, you guys are just spoiled. Do you want us to beat 40-70-0 or whatever? It's not that. It's just LSU fans do have the national champion. They've won 3 titles in 25 years. This is a national championship program. They do have insane expectations that you'll probably never meet. When you snap like this, it's going to do nothing but draw the media in. Now, when you say they're spoiled, yes, they have been spoiled, but that's the reason you leave Notre Dame to go to LSU, because you can't win a national championship up there. At least in your mind, you can't. You go there to be able to win a national championship, something that you haven't been able to accomplish in your career, and now you're going to snap at the media when they come at you asking about the offense and the third down offense and all of this. I think Brian Kelly's got to ease up a little bit. I think he's got to be like, all right, you know what? Like, I did ask for this. Like, this is why I came here. These expectations are exactly why you wear LSU on your chest at the end of the day. So, Brian Kelly snapped. I think he was a little bit in the wrong there. Like I said, I'm not watching every single just press conference that he does. So I'm sure it does get tiring and that these questions probably do come in quite a bit. But it was just hilarious to kind of see him snap because it's like, oh, yeah, football is back. College football is back. Brian Kelly's out here snapping to the media. So this is a new kind of, I guess, it's not a segment. I don't even know what you would call it. But kind of, I just asked Twitter, or not Twitter, I asked TikTok to give me hot takes. So hot takes from the talk to the tube. I don't know what you would even call this, but I'm just getting some hot takes just from people around the country because I feel like my TikTok does have a pretty wide range of like who it's able to reach, just based on comments that I get on most posts. So like I said, if you don't follow the Jump Sports on TikTok, go check that out. Go leave comments. Go like all the good stuff. It's much appreciated. So we'll start out with 345 Jackson. Penn State shouldn't have such a high ranking. Nittany Lions are currently ranked 2. Now, this is understandable in the fact of their first 2 games haven't looked incredible. Or their first 3 games, They haven't necessarily killed teams by any means. They beat Nevada 46-11, beat FIU 34-0, and beat Villanova 52-6. But now, 2 weeks from now, they will host the number 6 ranked Oregon Ducks in a whiteout night game. I'll be there. This game is going to be incredible, and it has all of the environment and everything that you will need to be able to get a top-ranked win and be able to keep rolling and deserve that ranking of number 2. Because there was a lot of Penn State fans that were upset when Ohio State jumped them. But you haven't done a whole lot. So I don't know if I would necessarily agree with 345 Jackson. Because this is a team that, going into the year, you look at that roster and you're like, there's no way they're not good. Like, there's genuinely no way they don't end up being good. Because the retention, obviously they lose Abdul Carter, they lose Tyler Warren. But what they replace it with is an even better receiving core. 2 of the best running backs in the country coming back. Drew Eller coming back. The retention was crazy. I think they are deserving of a top 5 rating. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of whether or not they deserve to be 2 as of right now. But I think that's... I don't know if it's necessarily a hot take. It's a good take, though. Just saying that they don't deserve it off of what they've done. And this is kind of one of the things that, like, the preseason AP poll holds a lot of weight in these type of aspects. Because if you're ranking all these teams off rip, if you're going into week 4... and you're like, all right, now let's rank the teams, you're probably not putting Penn State at 2. But where you had them preseason, it just kind of hoists them up to where they are now. So, Penn State, number 2 right now. 345 Jackson says that they should not be. But I would say I agree. They should be 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. But 2 is very high. Trey Cole Nelson says Nebraska beating Michigan. Now, this is one of the games I got to talk about here in a little bit because this is one of the games of the week for this week. It's not a ranked on ranked, but it's going to be cinema. We have in Memorial Stadium, Michigan, with Biff Poggi letting Bryce Underwood, Batman, his dog, whatever he called him, let him run loose. But this for Nebraska is the start of a run that if you are able to get this win, if you're Nebraska, you have legitimate playoff thoughts. Because after this one, you have Michigan State at home, at Maryland, at Minnesota, Northwestern. USC looks much better now, but it's at home, at UCLA, at Penn State, and then Iowa at home. Now, out of all of those teams through this point in the season, I think there's only one that you nearly would guarantee an L in, and that's at Penn State. And you can't tell me an 11-1 Nebraska team's not getting in. It would be similar to the Indiana of last year. Nebraska's got a legit shot if they win this game against Michigan that they can do it. And you know what? I'm buying into it. So Trey Cole Nelson, I believe it. Nebraska is beating Michigan this week, this Saturday. So be tuned in for that one. That one's going to be awesome. I think Matt Rule, year 3, all his programs keep taking steps up every single year. And year 3 is when his teams get to that point of being super, super special. So Nebraska beats Michigan this weekend. Tom says Vandy will make a run at the college football playoff. Now, this one is a hot topic just because I've heard a lot of people mention this just throughout social media. Now, I disagree. Now, you can call me a sleeper or whatever. This team is currently tied for second in the conference at 1-0. This is a 3-0 team that just beat number 11 on the road. But it's number 11 on the road with a little bit of an asterisk because Lenore Sellers did have to miss a lot of it. But starting with the Alabama game, which is October 4th, they will play at Alabama versus number 3 LSU versus number 23 Missouri, at Texas versus number 22 Auburn. They're losing 3 of those games. I'm not saying this team can't go 9-3 when it's all said and done, but 9-3, I guess technically is making a playoff push, but all the other wins that you're getting, I don't think are doing enough to be able to hoist Vanderbilt into that conversation. So I would disagree with this hot take, but it's a take, and I love it because I love Diego Pavia, I love Clark Lee, but I just don't think it's going to happen for Vanderbilt. Shout out Jeremy. Isaac Brown will be in New York as a finalist. Now, this one is interesting because I've brought this up in the past. Isaac Brown is an interesting one for the Heisman because the stat of every year that ends with 5, a running back has won the Heisman. Now, through 2 games, this man has, hold on, where's his game log? Let's see. EKU, 6 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Madison, 12 carries, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. If you watch the JMU game, you can definitely kind of see, they played him very well. But this is a Louisville team that's going to have a lot of wins on their schedule. They'll probably lose the Miami game. They'll probably, other than that, I don't know if there's even really a loss on here. They play at Pitt. That's a sneaky one. But this is a team that has a legit shot of winning a lot of games. And the kind of rule with the Heisman is every Heisman Trophy winner, their team usually wins 9 or more games. This is a team that's going to win a lot of games. He has 230 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns through 2 games. They play Bowling Green this weekend. He has a chance to go off in that one. And obviously the first one when they killed EKU, he just didn't play a whole lot. I think it's a legit shot. I agree. Actually, I can't say I agree with this take because I don't know if he'll end up being. I think there will be a running back there. I don't know if it's going to be Jeremiah Love because he's getting all the Jadarian Price is taking a lot of his snaps, but there's been a running back there. So it feels like very contradicting of me to bring up that stat a lot and then not invite a running back to New York. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Jonah Coleman out of Washington. That's my favorite as of right now. But Jeremiah Love's out there. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There's a lot of good running backs in the country. But Isaac Brown, I don't think he'll be in New York as a finalist, but I think he is if you could get him now as the Doak Walker Award winner on a betting site or whatever, I think it's a good value, I would say. I don't know where he's at on that, but I would go check that if I were you all. From Unda says, I don't really fully understand this take, but I get kind of what he's referring to. So he said, Georgia is the luckiest team since Auburn. I don't know if he's saying other than Auburn, where Auburn has had a lot of things go their way. The 2014 Auburn, the kick 6, the Nick Marshall, the tip touchdown. I don't know if he's referring to that or I don't fully understand it. But the rest of this makes all the sense. Should have lost to Ohio State. That was the playoff game where what was his? Was it Ruggles? Ruggles was the kicker, I think, for Ohio State. Just hooks it way left. They should have lost that game. Injured Bama's receiver that got them to the Natty. I think that's the JMO one that he's referring to. 8 overtime fluke win last year versus Georgia Tech, and then now Tennessee field goal miss. The Tennessee field goal miss, this one was like, it looked like, I can't remember their kicker, and I'm not trying to throw him on the bus, but it looked like he pooped his pants before he even went up to kick the field goal. You could tell 3 minutes before he kicked that field goal, that was not going in. Now, Chase McGrath, his field goal wasn't pretty and it went in, so maybe Heupel's thinking that thing where even if he doesn't trust his kicker necessarily, just send him out there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Georgia is very lucky. I don't know if this is, I guess his hot take is Georgia is the luckiest team since Auburn. I guess he's referring to since when Auburn got really lucky, but sure. I mean, I guess that's a good take. But you have to have a lot of luck. Every champion of any sport is going to have some luck at some point. It's the coaching and the players that get you to the point where the luck draws you over the line to be a champion, though. So I think it's more lifting up Kirby Smart and all these players that have been there and that are now producing in the NFL that are the reasons why they won these championships. And then now, obviously, this was a little lucky. But I think there were a lot of good play calls and good game management things from Kirby throughout this Tennessee game that helped them get to the point where a field goal being missed does help them ultimately win the ball game. Kent says, even though they just lost to Georgia, I think Tennessee will be in the final 4 teams. I'm assuming he's referring to like the playoff semifinals, because I would agree with that. I think this is a very, very good team. This is a Tennessee team that there's a lot of wins still on the schedule, a lot of them. I do think this is a team that I believe in much more than I did last year, because last year it was more of like, give the ball to Dylan Sampson, get out the way. But this year, with Joey Aguilar, this guy, through the first quarter of the Georgia game, it looked like this guy's winning Heisman, no way around it. They have good run game. Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, both of those guys have been really good. And then the other guy that's touched it a lot, Peyton Lewis. That three, it's really a 2-headed monster, but I guess 3-headed monster. But and then if Chris Brazel's going to do anything remotely close to what he did, Staley's been good. Mike Matthews, he was almost my breakout player of the year for the SEC. I ended up taking him off. And I think I put Chris Hilton Jr., which I need to kind of look into that and see how that take is going. But this is a really good team, though. Obviously their defense is going to get exposed a little bit. Not that it's a bad defense by any means, but I would agree with this take. I think they will be in the college football playoff. I think they will be there in the end. I think it's a team that has stood the test of time, and I think this is a Tennessee team that I saw Joey Galloway put this statement out where he said, if Tennessee makes that field goal, all the things that we're saying about Georgia, we would be saying about Tennessee, which is very, very true. It's easy to get caught up in the mess of this team ended up losing this game, so they're just not as good as this team, blah, 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 blah. If you just look at it from a realistic perspective, you just watch this game, you watch this team, you know what they can do. If they just hit a field goal, they win 41-38 and knock Georgia down in the rankings a little bit. And that team is on an absolute high horse. It's a completely different perspective when you just flip the scoreboard just a little bit. Georgia has the guys that are completely ready for this. Josh Heupel's done an incredible job preparing this team. And Joey Aguilar is definitely a good enough quarterback that I think this is a very good take to say that they will be in the final 4 teams when it's all said and done. Because obviously, at the top, my guy earlier says Penn State's not deserving of their ranking. So if they're gone, then they're out. I don't think it's crazy to say Tennessee could beat LSU. I don't think it's crazy to say Tennessee could beat Miami, Oregon, Florida State. Well, actually, Florida State right now looks crazy. But Texas, Illinois, A&M, they're right there in the mix with all of those teams. And they get a chance to play some of these teams. This season, they'll play Oklahoma. They'll play, let me see their schedule real quick. They'll still play Mississippi State, who's been very good. That'll be a good test being a road game. They still play at number 14, Alabama. They still play Oklahoma at home. They'll play a good Vandy team. So there's a lot of tests out there for this team that I'm excited to see. South Carolina still is a playoff team. Let me see what the schedule. I know it's the flipped schedule from last year, so I know they have Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU on the road. Oh, no. They have a stretch where they play 5 straight games, 3 of which that are on the road against top 14 teams. South Carolina's not a playoff team. I don't know how long Sellers will be out. And before that stretch, they have 23 Missouri. There's a team that could be 6-6 when it's all said and done. 7-5. No, they're not a playoff team. They play at number 3 LSU, number 11 Oklahoma at home, number 14 Alabama at home, at number 13 Ole Miss, at number 10 Texas A&M. In a stretch altogether. That is, wow. I didn't think about their schedule being this brutal. It's not even that I don't like the team necessarily. It's that I don't see them being a playoff team with that schedule. Gators will beat Miami. This one is interesting. This was Lurky Turkey. Thank you all. I think there was 8. Thank you all for asking those or bringing those hot takes because they're fun to talk about. Gators beating Miami. Now, it's only Wednesday when this is coming out, but I have gone back and forth probably 100 times already on who I trust in this game. Leaning more of like spread talk instead of winning. Because I can see a world where Miami just goes in there and just kills Florida. It's at home. This is a team that they killed last year with a much, much, much worse defense. I mean, we saw what DJ Lagway did against a good defense last week. 5 picks. This is a team where Ruben Bain is legitimately in the Heisman conversation. The defense is incredible overall. I'm going to say no. It won't shock me if Florida is in this game battling, but I would say no to that take of saying the Gators will beat Miami. But that funnels in perfectly to the games to watch for this week. So I will run through these, and then I'll also do a live pick. I don't know if I'm going to do these live or just pick them ahead of time going into the week or whatever, but I'll choose a player to watch and game to watch out of these. So like the one I'm most excited for, maybe sometimes it will be the game day, but as of right now, we'll figure this one out. So I mentioned the Florida Miami game. That's the 7:30 clock. That's 7:30 ABC game day. All the storylines of that one. Texas Tech Utah. That one will be noon. That one is in Rice-Eccles, which is one of the toughest places to play. Not only because, not that it's the crazy student section, and shout out the MUS, the Mighty Utah student section, but it's not even that it's necessarily like a daunting stadium by any means. It's just the fact of like Kyle Whittingham is the coach. It is Sac Lake City, and it's crazy. Like they're just really, really good when they're at home. They beat teams handily at home. This is a Texas Tech team that has absolutely throttled everybody they've played to this point. It is a clashing of styles because Utah didn't necessarily have the offensive like firepower this past weekend against Wyoming. While on the other hand, Texas Tech seems to score 7 touchdowns a quarter when they want to. So this will be a big-time Big 12 clash early on in the year. So that one's one to be excited for. That's at noon. 3:30, number 22 Auburn versus number 11 Oklahoma. This one, I have both these quarterbacks in my Heisman list. I think John Mateer is going to ball. It's not that I don't trust Auburn. This just feels like the first legitimate test. I know Baylor is good. They just beat SMU, but it's just an interesting game that I think Oklahoma will end up throttling them comfortably. I don't know what the spread is as of right now. Need to find that out. But that is what I'm very excited for as of right now because it's an early season SEC game. You'll get to learn a lot about these two teams throughout this game and then kind of get to see what they'll look like for the year. Yeah, Oklahoma is 6.5. So I think that's a cover for Oklahoma, if I'm being honest. I'm not recommending gambling or anything, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking as of right now. The other game I mentioned, the Texas Tech Utah. Utah's 3.5 point favorite. That one, man, when it's a lot of points, it's hard to say that a team is going to cover that. But I would think Texas Tech would cover that, in my opinion. I would think off rip. Tulane at 3:30 will travel to Oxford and play the Ole Miss Rebels. This one, Ole Miss 11.5 point favorite. Now this is an Ole Miss team that technically played Austin Simmons, but it was really Trinidad Shamlis looked really, really good. Put up an incredible day for them. Now that's against Arkansas. We don't necessarily know how good Arkansas will be. We'll get to see that whenever they play Memphis this week. But this is a Tulane team that just beat. They were up comfortably, and then the scoreboard didn't necessarily show what the game looked like. But Tulane just beat a Duke team that is very good this year, in my opinion. I think they're going to be really good, and they just beat them pretty comfortably. So that one's going to be fun to watch. 3:30. Also 3:30. Michigan travels to Nebraska. This one is going to be awesome. I was going to guess Michigan 1.5. It's 2.5. This game, screw it, I'm jumping ahead. This is my game to watch. This is the game to watch. And then honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say my player to watch because I said I'm doing this live. My player to watch in this game is the man, Dane Key. I think Dane Key is going to be the one to watch out for. It's not even going to be the same way, but the way that Deion Burks was the guy that kind of opened everything up for Nebraska or for Oklahoma in that game, opened it up early and kind of like played really well against Michigan. I think it's going to be similar to that. Deion Burks, he has 225 yards on the year, but that game, it was really him. Like that game was a Deion Burks game, and I think that's what Dane Key is going to be able to do in this one. So Dane Key is my player to watch as like a breakout type of game. I don't know how many touchdowns I would feel comfortable predicting, but I know that Bryce Underwood will be let out and let him do whatever he wants in the words of Biff Poggi. So this game could be high scoring. Let me see what the over under is of this one. It's set at 44.5. I like the over. Michigan's going to have a really good defense, but I'm not sure how Nebraska's will be. They played Cincinnati, but other than that, they haven't played anybody with a pulse. But I think the over might hit in that one. It's really, really, really uncomfortable to say a Big Ten game will be going over, no matter who the opponents are. But I would say the over in this one. 7 o'clock. I mentioned this one with the South Carolina schedule. South Carolina hosts number 23 Missouri. So they have did they go to Missouri? If they go to Missouri, it might be Raps. I'm not gonna lie. Let me find this. This is a 7 o'clock game. Yeah. Oh, it's at Missouri. Yeah. All right. Missouri's gonna roll. But Bo Prabula is the guy that I felt most guilty probably about leaving off of my list. Ahmad Hardy last week proved to the country that he might be RB1 in this conference. Maybe not in the country, but in the conference. This one, Missouri's a 13.5 point favorite, and if Sellers is out, Missouri might cover that comfortably. So I'm a big fan of this Missouri team, just the way it's constructed. I think they're going to roll in this one. Illinois at number 19, Indiana. Now, IU is a 3.5 point favorite over Illinois. Man, this one is tough. I'm not trying to just get picks for people, but these games are just kind of, as you talk about them, you kind of predict what's going to happen. I think Illinois is going to win this game. I wasn't necessarily sleeping on Illinois to start the year, but the Duke game, I know it was closer than what the score ended up showing in the end, but I mean, they throttled that team. I think Illinois is going to win this game at Indiana, and I think it's going to be exactly what Illinois fans had talked about in the preseason, where it was just get to that Ohio State game. And I think if they're able to win this game, the playoff talk and playoff thoughts legitimately start for the Illini. So that one's going to be exciting. Arizona State and Baylor. That one's 7:30 as well. This game's going to be electric. It's at McLean Stadium. It's probably a coin toss right now. I don't know what the spread is. Let me see what the spread is on this one. It's probably very close, I would guess, either way. Both unranked, probably both. Maybe the winner is in the top 25 when this game is done. Baylor 1.5. Yeah, 60.5 is the over-under. This game is going to be electric. This game, I expect Sawyer Robertson to go out there, sling it all over the field like he has so far. I do expect this game to be similar to the SMU game in the fact of like it's going to be a shootout. The only thing I think would make this game go under is if Arizona State just begins to lean heavy on the run game, because early in the Mississippi State game, Mississippi State was able to kind of slow down Jordan Tyson and slow down the passing game in general. Once the run game opened up, everything opened up for Arizona State in that one. So I like the over in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. This is going to be a fun game to watch, 7:30 in Waco. And then 11 o'clock, the Michigan State Spartans, who are currently, both these teams are undefeated, at number 25, USC. USC has been really, really good to start this year, and I've loved what I've seen from them. I think they roll in this game. Jaden Mayava has looked very, very impressive. I've also left him off my Heisman list, and that one, hurt to see or hurt to put out, but he's very close to being on it, and I think he's one of them that I feel like I've disrespected in the offseason. But he's already at 989 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. Obviously, they haven't played great teams so far, but they've played very well in the games that they have played. So, what was it? Missouri State? Yeah, they played Missouri State first, and then they played Georgia Southern, and then at Purdue this past week. And Purdue is not great. Barry Odom's a good coach. They'll be fine, but if you can win 2 time zones over, I have a whole lot of respect for you. Just because of like the stats that came out last year about teams going 2 time zones over, it's just very impressive to get that done. So USC looks really good. But with that being said, I'm going to get into my Heisman rankings and then we'll hop up out of here. So this will probably be a longer episode, but a lot of good talk in this one. I've enjoyed it. So thank you all for tuning in if you made it this far. The Week 3 Heisman rankings. I have number 10, Ty Simpson, making the cut. I had to just figure out how to get him on here because he has had one of the most efficient seasons out of a quarterback I think I may have ever seen. He has had it's obviously been the last 2 games. Wisconsin's a very respectable team. It's not like they're just terrible by any means. They're going to be okay. Yeah, he went against the UL Monroe. He was 17 for 17, got pulled out. And then and for the most part of this one, he was very, very efficient as well. He ended up going 23 for 43, but he looked really good in this one. He throws one of the prettiest footballs in the country, in my opinion. He's fun to watch. 9 touchdowns, no picks for this guy. Obviously, most of his numbers came in games I said 23 for 43. That was the first one. The last game, he was 24 for 29. I was talking about the Florida State game. He was 23 for 43. That was the one that people kind of got their initial Ty Simpson thoughts off of. That was still a game where he threw 2 touchdowns, no picks, and he keeps increasing. So he threw 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. He's on pace to just throw for 35 touchdowns by week 7. But yeah, the Florida State game wasn't great, but that was also his first start. It was on the road against a very good Florida State team that has looked really good defensively so far. Since then, 17 for 17, 24 for 29, over 500 passing yards in those 2. So I had to figure out how to get him on there. He has been incredible in my opinion, and I think he's looked apart so far. Jackson Arnold at 9, I think he's been impressive. We'll get to see a lot about him this week against a good Oklahoma defense. Dante Moore. This team was nearly sleepwalking. They wanted to be anywhere but Evanston, Illinois this past Saturday and still won comfortably. So Dante Moore at 8, I think he's just been really good. He's been dealing it, and he's looked very good. He's fit the who was it? Troy Franklin, I think, that said he'll be a Heisman contender or whatever. As of right now, he's got 78% completion, 657 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's going to be really good. Like I said, I'll get to see him here in a couple weeks, and I'm excited for that one. But yeah, they'll play Oregon State this upcoming weekend, and in the Civil War, and we'll see what they end up looking like in that one. Tommy Castellanos, they were just on a bye, but had to keep him in there at 7. Jonah Coleman, my favorite running back in the country, at 6. Marcel Reed at 5. He jumped from off the list to 5. Yes, there was a lot of Mario Craver and Kevin Concepcion help, but what he was able to do on the road at Notre Dame and South Bend was nothing short of incredible. Number 4, Jeremiah Smith. This one, he's starting to show himself a little bit, obviously. Like his was more of a projection, but it's a projection of the fact of just like a fact. Like, you know, he's about to be incredible. As of right now, he's got 315 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's also the fastest receiver in Ohio State history to reach 1,500 receiving yards, which is crazy. If you look at the names that he passed up, like Chris Carter, Mecca Ibuka, JSN, like crazy names on that list. So Jeremiah Smith at 4. Devin Dampier at 3. Now the real Heisman thing starts. There's been people that don't have him in their top 10. I have him as high as 3. We'll get to see what he is this week as they face off against the Red Raiders. Carson Beck has been great so far for Miami. I have him at 2. And then number 1, John Mateer, Oklahoma. So he's looked really good. I mean, he's been literally a program changing, not only like team changing, he's been program changing for the Oklahoma Sooners, and it's been awesome to see. Now, he's obviously not the most jump off the stat sheet guy of all time, but he's already got 161 rushing yards, 944 passing yards, and then 9 total touchdowns. And he just has the Heisman plays. He had like a 50-yard run this week. So he's gonna be awesome like the entire season. And that's why I have him 1 already. He looked amazing against Michigan. That hoisted him up to number 1 for me. And it'll obviously other players will be able to kind of maybe knock him off at this point, but he's looked really good. That's my top 10 as we speak. This will come out on the 17th. So as of September 17th, that's my Heisman top 10. I think that'll do it for this episode. This one might be longer than I thought it was going to be. So thank you all for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun talking ball. Thank you all for staying this long, listening to the video, and or listening to the podcast for listening on podcast. If you do listen on podcast, do me a massive favor and go subscribe on the YouTube. Any support is greatly appreciated. So go follow the socials. They're the Jump Sports on everything. The Jump Sports _ on Instagram. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy college football this weekend, and peace.